Guess what's back?
What's that?
Back again. Caitlin Clark.
Yes, she is.
Tell a friend. Pulled up from the parking lot. The second shot of the game. She had the first 2 points on the foul line. Then she had, then they scored a layup, and then she pulls up from logo, from where the 22 is basically on the Iowa court. Cash.
Pat McAfee just went off on Angel Reese. And let's just say it wasn't friendly critique. It was a no-holds-barred sports talk smackdown. Why? Because Caitlin Clark lit up the Chicago sky like she was running a masterclass in professional basketball dominance. From burying logo threes to handing out assists like Halloween candy, Clark made it crystal clear what elite really looks like. Meanwhile, Reese looked like she was trying to play the misunderstood hero, but couldn't quite sell the role or the performance.
Internet, though, clipped out Angel Reese pushing the Fever Girl in the back.
She was like the villain.
Here's a clip that everybody was fake upset about.
That's not a bad foul. No, Caitlin Clark not finna fight, bro. It's turning their shit up, though. It's just some internet shit, bro. It's just bringing attention to the...
Caitlin Clark wasn't just out there to win. She was out to make a statement. A message aimed straight at the critics, the social media warriors, and especially Angel Reese. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to run this league. And Pat McAfee, he heard it loud and clear. The moment Clark torched the sky and handed them a nearly 30-point reality check, McAfee let loose. No filter, no fluff, just facts. If you're riding with Caitlin like McAfee is, drop a CC as a GOAT in the comments. Let's go.
She has surpassed everybody in the amount of time that she has played in the WNBA. She fills up every arena in every town that she goes to. Teams have to go to bigger arenas so that they can try to profit off the Caitlin Clark train coming to town. Most 20-point, 10-assist games in WNBA history, which I think you could say that's a good game. Like that's how you classify. Vandersloot, obviously, 430 games played, had 10 of them. Diana Taurasi, people talk about it as the GOAT, right?
The GOAT.
Damn
Yeah.
right. You're damn right.
564. She goes to school.
UConn.
Okay. 565 games played. She has 9 20-point, 10-assist games. And then Caitlin Clark, 41 games played. She already has 9 of them.
Let's run it back. Caitlin Clark casually dropped a triple-double like it was just another Tuesday. In her first WNBA matchup of the season against Angel Reese, she put up 20 points, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds like it was a light workout. This wasn't just a game. It was a clinic. The sky couldn't hang. Clark ran the floor like she had the cheat codes, tossing no-look dimes and launching logo threes like she was shooting into the ocean. Pure dominance.
There was a moment in the game where Angel Reese has a little bit of a push-off on an offensive board. Obviously, she's great at getting rebounds, incredible underneath. Caitlin Clark says, what the hell is
Come
that?
on!
Caitlin Clark says, what the hell is that, to the ref? And then she says, and most basketball people say, that's a take foul. Instead of a layup, we're going to make you earn it. I think Angel would miss one or both of those free throws instead of getting a wide-open layup in that entire thing. Angel was pissed off, thought it was a flagrant. Afterwards, everybody said it was a take foul, it was a take foul. But it was very convenient how most of the internet, not all of the internet, most of the internet, though, clipped out Angel Reese pushing the Fever Girl in the back, Caitlin pointing at the ref like, what are we talking about here? We're not calling it.
Angel Reese, on the other hand, had no answer. She looked a step behind while Clark sliced through the defense like it was practice. After all the hype, all the noise about bringing attention to game, Reese ended the night with a stat line quieter than a library. Meanwhile, Caitlin let her game do the talking. The scoreboard and the highlight reel made one thing clear. The spotlight belongs to Clark.
The Fever Sky matchup pulled in a record-breaking 2.7 million viewers, peaking at over 3 million. The most-watched WNBA game in history. And why? Because Caitlin Clark is the draw. Every time she laces up, eyeballs follow. Fans show up, arenas sell out, jerseys fly off shelves. The league elevates.
She was different, and she seemed to be more exciting than everybody else, but she also was an incredible passer and disher in the way she went about her business. It was like, oh, this girl's different. This woman's different. Then she gets drafted to the Fever, and what she has done for this city and for this team is unbelievable. Obviously, last year at the beginning of the season, nobody wanted to believe. Okay?
They still don't.
There's a lot of people that still think there's a lot of other. She is the one.
And Pat McAfee, he wasn't about to let this moment get buried under spin or noise. The second the final buzzer sounded, he grabbed the mic and said what everyone else in sports media seemed too hesitant to admit. He spoke the truth. This wasn't about attitude. It wasn't about social media drama. It was about basketball. And Caitlin Clark had just delivered the ultimate mic drop.
Pisses off everybody whenever we say it. And then obviously it becomes a whole thing because we're a bunch of doofuses and things like that. But like, this is the golden goose. This is the one. This is the generational, multi-generational player. And we're incredibly lucky that she's in Indianapolis. And she went fucking ham in the opener against the Chicago Sky.
Then came the now infamous foul sequence. A clear take foul, straight out of the textbook. But when Clark rightfully calls it out, the internet doesn't erupt over the foul itself. No, the outrage targets her. Somehow, someone chops up the footage into a highlight hit job. They cut out the part where Angel Reese shoves Natasha Howard just seconds before and jumps straight to the moment Clark makes contact. Boom. Context erased, narrative flipped, and suddenly, Caitlin Clark is cast as a villain. And like clockwork, the media runs with it.
Clip that out. They just go to right here, bang, Caitlin Clark fouls Angel Reese, and then boom, buzzsaw on the internet about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Ultimately, I think the buzz is good for the WNBA as a whole. I know it's probably not fun to be a part of if you're Caitlin or Angel Reese or anybody else, but in the end, the Indiana Fever win by 100, and Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have started their second season in the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark is on track to be the greatest of all time.
But McAfee wasn't having any of it. He called it what was manufactured outrage. He tore into the cherry-picked footage, mocked the lazy editing, and shredded the hot takes polluting timelines. This is what Pat does best. Cut through the noise while everyone else chases clicks. They clipped the video, he said. They cut out the first foul, and now somehow Clark's a bad guy. McAfee wasn't just defending Caitlin. He was exposing the spin while the rest of the media played along.
There's no argument. Like, I don't understand. Like, people can yell until they're blue in the face. Like, the proof's in the pudding. We've seen all the stuff. And you say, like, it is good for the sport at large, but I think a lot of people get turned on. Like, it just always goes into a race thing. Like, every single time, no matter what, that is always the discussion.
And McAfee didn't stop there. He zeroed in on the critics still too afraid to say the quiet part out loud. Caitlin Clark is a generational talent, and they're scared. Scared of how quickly she's changing the game. Scared of how undeniable her stats are. Scared that their favorite narratives fall apart the moment she steps on the court. This is the golden goose, McAfee declared. She's selling out arenas, breaking viewership records, forcing teams to move games to bigger venues. What more do you need?
In every league, there's going to be like adversaries. Like, you know, Angel Reese is the foil for Caitlin Clark and vice versa. Like, they don't have to get along. They don't have to like each other. They're competitors. Like, that, this kind of shit happens. But every single time something like this happens, and we have to go right back to
full on.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't get moved at all. So like, we're not talking about the game. We're talking about that play, and that's it. You know. And then we'll get the stats about her 20 points and 10 assist games and the triple doubles and all that. But the discussion always comes back to this.
McAfee even pulled out comparisons to legends, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and yes, Steph Curry. But here's the kicker. None of them moved the needle this fast. And McAfee wasn't just applauding Caitlin Clark's performance. He was celebrating the full package. Her leadership, her poise, the way she shouldered the WNBA spotlight with grace, all while taking elbows on the court and criticism off it. She's not just playing the game, she's redefining it.
I see the Fever play them, like, these are great teams. Los Angeles, I think they got Kelsey Plum out there.
Yeah, they do.
I think they're going to be great. There's a lot of great teams. I'm just talking about watching Caitlin Clark play. Electrifying.
Yes.
Absolutely. She will pull. She will pull that shit up. She will shake, sidestep, step back, not scared. And then she'll do a no-look pass, full court passes. I mean, her teammates have to get used to her passes. Like, I think, because they've never really seen it before. Yep. She's great for the sport. She's great for the game.
And when it came to Angel Reese, McAfee was respectful, but absolutely surgical. He gave her credit for helping drive the spotlight to the league, no doubt. But he wasn't buying the theatrics, not the flop, not the post-game pout, not the TikTok sympathy tour. He said what much of the league is only whispering. Angel Reese is sliding into the villain role in a story that only Caitlin Clark is actually winning. Sure, that villain label might sell some jerseys and generate clicks, but it doesn't change what happens between the lines. And on the court, Clark is in full control of the narrative.
basically who's filling up all these arenas. Now, obviously, there's a lot of adult males who are fans and going to it, but you got a lot of little girls that are coming out watching their hero play, and she's selling out every arena. It's great for the sport.
Yeah, she's the most popular women's athlete on the planet right now, I think, and obviously her game speaks for, like, it's just different.
Because when you look between the lines, Caitlin Clark is dominant. She's efficient. She's fierce. And most importantly, she's winning. This isn't up for debate. It's on the scoreboard. McAfee drove that point home like a man fed up with seeing true talent buried under headlines that missed the whole game. He closed his rant with a now iconic truth bomb. People can shout until they're blue in the face, but the proof is in the pudding. Caitlin Clark is a star. Not maybe, not someday. Right now. And as for the critics, the haters, the narrative peddlers, and the social media drama queens, let them keep spinning. Caitlin Clark's too busy rewriting records, packing stadiums, and dropping triple-doubles on anyone who doubts her.
Watch the playoffs, you see a hard foul, guy gets up, talk shit. Did Angel overreact? Yeah, probably. It was a hard foul. It is what it is. They squashed it after the game and you moved on. But yeah, all the think pieces and everything after the first game, hey, it's numbers, so I'm sure the WNBA probably likes that part of it. But the other side of it, I think is pretty shit.
Pat McAfee didn't just deliver a segment. He set off a firework of truth right in the middle of the Caitlin Clark smear machine. And the fans, they felt it. The response wasn't subtle. It was a tidal wave of agreement from millions who had enough of the non-stop shade aimed at Clark in a media landscape flooded with hot takes and recycled slander. McAfee stood up and said what so many are thinking. Enough of the nonsense. The spin cycle is broken, and the game's brightest star deserves way better.
Watching Caitlin become confident that she's the one out here, too, is awesome.
Yeah, it's
like press conferences, she's leading. Coach is here. Aaliyah Boston's here.
Yeah.
Kelsey Mitchell, dog, great player. She's down there. It's like, this is Caitlin's team.
For months, we were told to quiet down, that the whole Clark versus Reese hype was just that. Hype, that it wasn't a real rivalry. Just two second-year players crossing paths. Cute, harmless coincidence, but now, that fairy tale's officially tossed in the trash. The numbers are screaming, the crowds are roaring, and the hot takes are burning like cheap gasoline. This isn't just a rivalry. It's the most electric storyline in women's sports right now, maybe in all sports. And it's not some media creation. It's because Caitlin Clark keeps showing up and redefining what dominance looks like. And naturally, that kind of greatness makes people uncomfortable.
Ratings are higher than it's ever been for the WNBA.
Yeah.
Congrats to Caitlin Clark.
That's right.
Nice.
It's crazy how it's always the Fever, seems like. Or it's a game that the Fever game is leading into.
Sure.
It's crazy how that works.
I mean, what are you going to do? Proof's in the pudding, kind
Get a girl out of Iowa.
Exactly.
Who can pull up from the state next door.
Yeah.
And light up an entire arena, every arena.
Let's start with the viewership. The Fever versus Sky matchup. Clark versus Reese. Round however many. Pulled in a jaw-dropping 2.7 million average viewers. Peaking at 3.1 million at one point. That's not just impressive. That's record-breaking, history-making, absolutely jaw-dropping. And yet, the same pundits who clutch their pearls every time the WNBA makes headlines still have the nerve to say, well, it's not really a rivalry. Then why is every major sports network in the country glued to their screens every time these two hit the court?
But I think Caitlin Clark sees the bigger picture, wants to leave WNBA better than whenever she got there. And obviously, I think Angel Reese is a part of this with how big her personality is and how well she's known. But it's like, just let's go. It's good for sports, the more eyes on all these things. And I think obviously as a lot of girl dads in here, it's great that that is where it's headed. But it just needs to be acknowledged by everybody that there is a driver behind it. And it happens to be a bucket from Iowa in Caitlin Clark.
It's not just about the stats. It's about what they symbolize. Clark and Reese represent two very different stories. Point one is the polished prodigy, dropping triple-doubles with surgeon-like precision. The other plays a villain role with flair, grabbing more headlines for side-eyes and flops than actual field goals. Point one is moving the ball on the court. The other is moving the conversation off it. And sure, a little drama is part of the game, but let's not fool ourselves about who's really raising the bar.
The argument is stupid. You can say whatever you want, but it's very obvious. And I think even the WNBA as like a whole, like their front league office, I guess, if you will, like they might not publicly,
They have publicly, though. They said, hey, all these games are prime time.
Yeah, exactly.
WNBA, all the Fever's games are prime time.
They got more primetime games than the Lakers had.
Yeah.
Definitely more than the Colts have.
Nationally.
Definitely more than the Pacers had.
Yep.
Legit.
But here's where it gets deeper. This isn't a war. It's not personal. It's basketball. Still, some fans and influencers keep twisting every Clark-Reese interaction into some bigger cultural crisis. Reese plays physical? So what? That's basketball. But the moment Clark pushes back, or, heaven forbid, actually competes, the media flips the script into a morality play. Suddenly, she's problematic, entitled, or tossed into some buzzword bucket that completely falls apart once you watch her drain logo threes on repeat.
She fills up a stadium in an arena more than anybody else. And I had somebody tweet me this the other day before we talked about Caitlin's debut. You better talk about the biggest star in Indianapolis this year or whatever. And it's like, I'm not good at talking about I don't know enough about the WNBA to talk about it, but I do know enough about business. I do know enough about a superstar, and Caitlin Clark is both of those things, and she has the work ethic to back it up. Like, this isn't just going to be a flash in the pan. This is going to be for the foreseeable future because of how hard she works.
The real issue isn't fouls or flair. It's fear. The old guard, the narrative gatekeepers who control the conversation for years, are rattled because Caitlin Clark is steamrolling their script, and an anonymous GM poll just confirmed it. Clark wasn't only named the best point guard and shooting guard. She was voted the one player most GMs would build a franchise around. This isn't fanboy hype or social media noise. This is the people with paychecks on the line saying, plain and simple, give me Clark. Period.
I don't understand. You got so many clips of Caitlin Clark pushing people in college. Yep. She doing all this type of stuff. She hit Jordan Canada upside the head last year.
She actually needs anger management. If people actually been watching Caitlin as a person who also needs a little anger management myself, I'm talking about myself. Caitlin's another one who needs anger management.
Yeah.
She's always effing crashing out. She led the league in text. She was one of the top 5 leaders in text last year.
While the front offices are handing her the keys, the peanut gallery keeps trying to rewrite the story. She's called a media creation. Her popularity gets dismissed with every excuse in the book. But the louder the applause, the louder the deflections, and it's painfully clear why. When one player is drawing ratings, packing arenas, and shifting the culture in real time, yet people still refuse to give her the respect she deserves. That's not analysis. That's resentment. Through it all, Clark stays unbothered. No clapbacks, no cryptic tweets, no petty jabs and post-game interviews. Just buckets, assists, and wins. She even reached out to help Reese up after a tough foul, only for Reese to charge back like it was personal beef night at Madison Square Garden. Clark didn't flinch. She walked away composed, classy, of course. The media twisted it anyway. But the fans? They saw through the noise. Social media lit up, not with hate, but with support, with clarity, and with one message loud and clear. Enough already. Give her the respect she's earned.
She's drawing Ohio. She's drawing Kentucky. She's drawing Illinois, Michigan. You got people traveling to Iowa. I mean, Iowa's even traveling over. You got people traveling to come watch here in Indiana. And then every other arena is the same damn thing. She has home games in every arena she goes to.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing. It is a great thing for sports. And it does feel like more and more people are starting to understand.
Even fans who never followed women's basketball are hooked now. They're watching not just the games, but the game behind the game. They're noticing the bias, the double standards, the hypocrisy. One popular podcast put it perfectly. You can like both players, but don't fool yourself. Angel and Caitlin are playing in 2 different leagues. One is still learning the ropes. The other is already legendary.
Some of the pundits might not be there yet because I think they're OGs around the league. Don't just want to just hand over a torch to a young buck that's coming in. I understand that completely. But it's like at some point, if you were to rally around this and everybody was kind of like to promote this, it's like then your league potentially becomes, and the numbers are saying now the first weekend we're in a good spot for the WNBA.
Yeah, and hopefully like all the other stuff doesn't fall on deaf ears and like everybody kind of acknowledges it too.
That's the part that shakes up the system. Caitlin Clark didn't just show up, she detonated. She's doing for the WNBA what Steph Curry did for the NBA, changing the geometry of the game and forcing the entire league to evolve. Whether the league was ready or not, Clark has arrived, and she's bringing a seismic shift with her. This isn't just Caitlyn versus Angel. It's what happens when someone new storms a castle armed with jaw-dropping stats, unshakable poise, and a fan base bigger than many franchises. The power balance is tipping, and the old narrative makers are losing their grip. Clark is pulling women's basketball into a new era by sheer talent, popularity, and professionalism that's not hype. That's history in the making.
Let's focus on the basketball instead of all the other, BS that can come with sports in general, let alone just the WNBA, just every sport.
So this is a sport coming into, I know the league's been around a long time. A lot of great work by a lot of people to have that league for a long time. I'm not saying that isn't the case.
It takes time to get
boom. But now it's like you're becoming a league, like a big time prominent
young
draw.
in comparison,
Yeah, and there's going to be some, it's a transition that everybody is going to have to deal with.
While the drama swirls and the hot takes keep coming, Caitlyn Clark stays locked in, dropping triple-doubles, lifting her teammates, and proving night after night that the future of the WNBA isn't some distant idea. It's right here, wearing an Indiana Fever jersey and absolutely cooking the competition. Pat McAfee saw it. Fans around the world saw it. Even the league is starting to accept ITSO. If you're still pretending she's overhyped, here's the scoreboard. Clark dominated. Reese got humbled. And everyone else? They got front row seats to a generational shift. If you're riding with Caitlyn like McAfee, drop a CC is the GOAT in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment. Click the video on screen, and we'll see you in the next one.